Maurice Ravel, meticulous to details, urged to say with the notes what poets say with words. Each chord here has to have its meaning and special mood, and their progression reveal an engaging story. That's why the challenge of a performer is not just to get through the piece, but also to decipher and convey all these slightest changes of color and timbre, because timbre in this piece is of course very important. And here Ravel basically pushes the expressiveness limits of piano to its very maximum, and we have to be really good in reacting on harmony changes and being able to operate with different colors. Like for example in this spot where we first find ourselves at the surface of the water, seeing how it reflects the sunlight, and then we dive deeper into the darker waters. So each bar basically has its color here, and we have to be very sensitive about that. And imagining that we operate with a whole set of different fingers, like fingers made of wool, of glass, of different fabrics and different materials, and changing our touch very quickly. But of course, for that, at first we have to resolve the most important technical challenges. From the very beginning, the first page is of course a very scary one of the scariest first pages in the piano literature, basically. But as soon as you get through it, the rest of the piece is actually much more enjoyable. And here I suggest you to think about two things. First of all, how to coordinate motions in such a way that we would effectively avoid static tension, which might build up through the page and might even result in this spasmic condition when you can't play anything, like this. And I'm sure that if you have attempted practicing this piece, many of you might find yourself in this situation after like 7 or 8 bars of this first page. And we will be addressing this, how to avoid this. But also another aspect is what kind of effect you want to deliver, because of course if we play it too real, even if we manage to press all the notes, it won't work, because it should be absolutely like serene and very, very like mesmerizing and irreal, kind of, yeah, like water flickering, some sunlights reflected in the water, but nothing really like made of wood or iron. Yeah, that's why the best solution here would be to effectively operate with a double repetition mechanism and try to play within a key, actually. Exploring this feature of modern instruments, which allow us to press the key multiple times without letting it off getting up. The problem, however, is that instruments very often are limited in this regard, and if you would practice it on some e-piano, you might not even be able to effectively exploit this. Or if you are practicing it on a vertical piano, also you might feel yourself really, really limited in this regard. And also grand pianos are very different in this regard. So this, for example, it has a limit for double repetition and a very heavy limit. So for example, I can play it only like with this speed, and still it kind of like it glitches basically. So, and after a while it just, so it's kind of problematic. And the reason is that this piano has kind of a manufacturer bug, which makes it kind of heavier than average and a little bit sloppy when it comes to repeated notes. But nevertheless, that's a good practice as well for me to practice it on the hardest possible piano for this particular piece. And in order to implement better motions, let's practice it first, breaking these structures into groups, following actually basically the grouping that Ravel writes here. So we are going to break it into groups of 2 notes, then 3, and then 3. So basically stop after each A note, and your task is to lean on the chord and release the hand at A. So A is played kind of lighter. And when you play a group of 3 notes, you lean at the second chord. The first is lighter, the second is your leaning point. And at first you might let the keys of going up fully, so you play that separately and with a bit more support, so rather like mezzo piano. And while you practice like that, try to notice how you transfer the weight of the hand from the thumb to the fifth finger. That kind of sensation we are looking for. And then you might probably need to practice like this a few days in a row in order to really implement these motions and teach your hand to release tension after each A here. This is, of course, a very much exaggerated version of what it will be later, but this is a very important stage to just implement these motions and realize that you can actually free up the arm while playing these things, and it only helps. Another thing that helps here is playing closer to the edge of the black keys, because if you play too far away, then of course following the laws of physics, it might be physically more challenging. But at the very edge of the keys, it's actually lighter. And very important to employ these very tiny motions in the arm, in the forearm, and letting your wrist bounce a bit while you gain stability in the knuckles. And then I suggest you to make a useful exercise by concentrating your attention on one finger, let's say the fourth finger only, and play it on one uniting arm motions and very small like impulses in the hand from the wrist, like this. And try to stay within the key, so you operate with this double action, a double repetition mechanism, like this. It will increase your awareness about this feature, which we unfortunately don't explore often in our piano. Actually, this key is much better than G sharp on this piano. I can play much longer and much faster. Yeah, so, but quickly relaxing the hand after, so you provide like 2 or 3 impulses within the key and then quickly releasing the hand. Yeah, so this is a very good exercise to increase your awareness about the keyboard, about this action. And then I suggest you to alternate when you practice between playing it in a more massive way with those leaning points on the chords and between working on this double repetition mechanism. And then after a while, you will find yourself in a much more comfortable position by playing this. It took me actually quite a few days to develop that ability. And nevertheless, on this keyboard, I can't go faster than, let's say, so that's, let's say, the speed limit for this particular piano. And then, of course, always remembering about your thumb, especially in such bars like number 5. This is actually quite uncomfortable for me because your weaker finger 4 is on the black key and your stronger fingers are on the white key, which creates kind of like a disbalance here. So what helps me is to open the elbow a bit and think about the thumb. And then I feel a little bit more comfortable. this should feel really loose, and you learn it like this by relaxing the hand between positions and allowing the weight of the hand freely transfer across the hand palm. And of course we have to feel that distance here by applying a little bit of rubato and supporting both A sharp and E sharp. So then we can get back, and also it's very important to calculate where exactly you do that diminuendo and what exactly you do with the time, how exactly you take time before bar 8 in order to get back to shadows. Following the link in the description, you will find a complete course on this piece where you will get a detailed guide on technique efficiency, expressiveness, and many other useful tips to help you improve your piano playing skills.